Thanks very much, Can Corlin. I welcome the opportunity to debate this call for the review of the National Development Plan tonight. And there's absolutely no doubt that the whole period surrounding Project Ireland 2040, the National Development Plan, and in particular the National Planning Framework aspect, was pure disgraceful. And it showed the contempt with which, Can Corlin, the National Parliament is held by government, because it was bypassed in terms of a proper debate and, crucially, in terms of an actual vote on the endorsement or non-endorsement of the National Planning Framework, which amazingly I've heard members of government, both in here and in media, say that it actually happened, but it blatantly did not. And instead, straight after the bypassing of that vote, we had the Around Ireland roadshow of what were the goodies for certain constituencies, for certain TDs, but a bit like the spin unit that was spinning that news, the SCU is gone, and a lot of the money needed to deliver these projects is vanishing as well, most of it into the crater in St James's. And so now we come to the crux of the matter, because a huge part of the planning framework, and where population would be dispersed and crucially centred over the next 20 years, is contingent on the supporting infrastructure to allow people in these areas live lives that have the amenities, physical and social, that they need. And I've seen this all before. The overarching document gives the green light to the regional and subsequently the county plans, and with the obvious demand for new housing, the sites will start to be developed. What will not keep pace, though, is the supporting infrastructure necessary for people in these areas to live quality lives, especially on the East Coast. And lest we're accused tonight of cheap political digs for a debate, the facts speak for themselves. Take, for example, on the issue of education alone. Even before this development plan, there were scores of schools announced on the eve of the last general election, half a dozen around my own town alone. Not one developed. And you ask questions in here, still not a sign of them. So if the goodies announced prior to the last election haven't been delivered, how does the credibility of this plan stand up? And the Minister cherry-picked a number of items, and that's exactly what's being done, cherry-picking tonight in terms of deliverability. And on the amendment from the Green Party seeking climate impact assessment, which, as Deputy Councillor said, we're supporting, one element alone in my own constituency that gets just a fleeting reference in this plan, which consists greatly in the reduction of car emissions in a county of 200,000 people, is the development of the Navan-Dublin rail line. And instead of just saying that the government will throw their eye over the viability in this project in a few years' time, maybe they could see the backlog of traffic each morning at 6 a.m. The Taoiseach said he has to come in that road and actually back a project like this that actually could help both on the climate side and actually the decent people of County Meath as well.